What's up, Bruins fans? I'm here to give you the latest info on your beloved Boston Bruins. Occasionally, I may even sprinkle some NHL news, but let's get into it. Free agent season is fast approaching, and the Boston Bruins have never been known to shy away from trying to sign some of the biggest UFAs during the offseason. The Bruins have many holes to fill in the forward group, so this video will focus on that. We all know they need help down the middle, but they also need help scoring goals. The offseason might not be the best to fill those needs, but there are some candidates. The Boston Bruins have just over $21 million in cap space, but do need to re-sign Jeremy Swayman first. But they will have money to spend on a top UFA as well. I've compiled a top 10 list of players I think the Boston Bruins should be interested in. You may not agree with this list, and honestly, I welcome that. So after you hear me out, please drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you're not subscribed yet and like the Boston Bruins content, please leave me a like and subscribe. If you're already subscribed, thank you very much. We're going to start with number 10, Anthony Mantha. Mantha spent last season between the Washington Capitals and the Vegas Golden Knights. He got 44 points in 74 games, with 23 of them being goals. His time on ice average went up after he got sent to Vegas, so that tells me Cassidy trusted him out there on the ice. He's only 29 and has a 6'5" frame and looked very nice as a net front presence on the power play. He would add size to the Bruins lineup, and don't let his size deceive you, as he can skate as well. I could see him playing wing with Patra, who could do a lot of the puck management, while Mantha did a lot of the heavy lifting in the corners and in front of the net. The concern I have is production in the regular season hasn't really carried over into the playoffs. He's played 17 career playoff games between Washington and Vegas, with only 6 assists to show from it. With his excellent shot and rapid release, which he loves to exploit, he is a dangerous scorer. Mantha can hang on to the puck and has an excellent stature and reach. Despite being criticized for his lack of persistence, he has become more physical and plays better defense. He would be a solid addition to the Bruins this offseason, and he wouldn't break the bank. Number 9, Vladimir Tarasenko. Tarasenko looks to be on his way to his second Stanley Cup at the time I'm making this video. I hope I don't jinx it for him. He has won at every level, and I was surprised last season when Ottawa was his landing spot. He's looked great for Florida during the Stanley Cup playoffs and has scored some big goals for them. The knock on him is his defensive game, but I haven't seen him be a liability for Florida during the playoffs at all. And the Bruins need some scoring, which he brings. His 56 points last season, which was 23 of them which were goals, would have been 5th on the team in goals and 5th in points. He only made $5 million per season last year, and I don't see him getting a raise at 32 years of age, and his injury history. If the Bruins could get him on a 2-year deal at a lower salary, he could be an easy replacement for Jake DeBrusk if he decides to leave. His experience, though, is a huge factor to me, and he knows what it takes to win. He's a winger, so he wouldn't be my first choice for the Bruins to pursue, but I truly think Sweeney should make a call on him. This guy can score, and he's won a cup. Number 8, Tyler Toffoli. I've been banging the drum on Tyler Toffoli for years. Every season this guy seems to be on the move, and hope every year that he comes to Boston, but it never happens. I feel like he was born to play for the Bruins based on his style of play. He's fast, he can score, he plays the game the right way, and he can bang in the corners. He's only 32, and last season he scored 33 goals, which would have him put in second on the Boston Bruins behind Pasternak for goals scored. He would be another option on the power play when the teams are putting all the pressure on Pasternak. For a team that is looking for goals, he seems to be like the perfect fit. And he has speed as well, so it's not like he's a player on the decline. On a short-term deal, he feels like a player that could be a steal and instantly a fan favorite. He's won at every level of play, including a Stanley Cup while playing for Los Angeles. I guess the knock on him is he doesn't play center, but the players available at that position this offseason is limited and filled with guys I feel are going to get huge paydays that they will never live up to. Number 7, Patrick Kane. Who wouldn't want arguably the best US-born hockey player of all time on their team? He has also won at every level and is a 2-time Stanley Cup champion. Honestly, he also beat our Bruins, and it still pisses me off. He is 100% nearing the end of his career at 35 years old, and he's post-hip surgery. He played very well for Detroit last season, and he got 20 goals and 47 points, but he only played in 50 games. He has a new hip, and he's almost looking like his old self, and I've always thought he would be a perfect fit in Boston. Kane would instantly make the second line of Marchand and Coyle a dominant line and cause havoc to the opposing teams. With Kane being at the tail end of his career, you wouldn't want to give him much term, so if there was a teams out there willing to give him that, I doubt he'll be coming to Boston. The Bruins have shown interest in the past, so I would think they will again this summer. Number 6, Jonathan Marchessault. I know I keep screwing this up, but I'm just going to have to get over this. I can't say his last name, But how funny would it be to have two players with the same nickname, Marshy, on the same line? Marshy is a Stanley Cup champion and a Conn Smythe Trophy winner. He's had one of the best seasons of his career, getting 69 points, and 42 of them being goals. He is a big reason for the success on the Vegas Golden Knights over the years, and a leader on and off the ice. He's already been quoted as saying that he's disappointed with the lack of an offer yet from the Vegas Golden Knights, but the Knights have been adamant that they want him back. Elliot Friedman from 32 Thoughts the podcast thinks that Vegas and Marchessault will be talking before free agent period starts, and both sides want to make a deal happen. Marshy is 33 years old and has been playing in Vegas for 7 years now, so I'm guessing he would probably take less money to stay in Vegas. But it's up to Vegas if they can make it work. Vegas has just over $1 million in cap space, but with LTIR, they can have up to $6 million in space. If Marshy is looking for a raise from the $5 million a season he's been making, it might not work out for him in Vegas. If it doesn't work out for him, the Bruins should at least look into it. But if they do, and he becomes a Bruin, I'm just going to have to call him Marshy because I have such a hard time with this guy's last name, and I do not know why. Let me know in the comments phonetically how to say it properly. Number 5, Tyler Bertuzzi. Bertuzzi has already played for the Bruins, so both the player and the team know each other and making it a perfect fit. Bertuzzi was quickly a fan favorite, but last season the two sides couldn't come to a deal, so he signed with the Bruins division rival in Toronto. Bertuzzi didn't have the best start to the season last year, but did finish with 21 goals and 43 points. But he was also playing with Auston Matthews, which doesn't hurt. The Leafs would love to bring him back, but it looks like they're bringing the core four back for another kick at the can, so they have little to no space cap-wise to sign any players. So more than likely, Bertuzzi will hit free agency. Bertuzzi brings some scoring and snarl, and I think he would be greatly needed in this series against Florida that we just had in the playoffs. His play in the previous season with the Bruins against Florida was some of the best on the Bruins. If he's available, hopefully the Bruins pick up the phone and give him a call. Number 4, Chandler Stevenson. Stevenson is our first center on the list, and as you can tell, he's near the top of the list. The Bruins' biggest need is someone that can play top minutes at the center position. Look no further than the 2-time Stanley Cup champion, Chandler Stevenson. The Knights are very cap-strapped, so writing on the wall is that Stevenson will be tested in the open market because their top priority is Marshy. Stevenson is one of the fastest skaters in the league and was a fan favorite from former Bruins coach Bruce Cassidy. The 30-year-old in 75 games scored 16 goals and got 51 points. He played on the power play and the penalty kill, averaging just over 18 minutes a game. He would look great down the middle for the Boston Bruins, but at what price? Stevenson has overpay by some team looking for a center depth written all over him, which scares me. He was only making $2.75 million the past couple seasons, so he's 100% looking for a raise. In a perfect world, if the Bruins could get him for like $5 million, maybe 5.5 range, they would be sitting pretty and have some solid center depth along with Coyle and Zacha, and would also leave some cash to bring in a winger that can score some goals. Number 3, Steven Stamkos. Stamkos has played more wing in the past couple years, but we know he can play center and excel at the position. My first thought is he's one of the biggest long shots on this list, as he's made his intentions clear he wants to stay in Tampa, and he wants to retire there. Maybe he wants to play center again, and he would get a chance in Boston. At age 34, he's still scoring at an elite level, getting 40 goals last season and a total of 81 points in 79 games. I would think Tampa would like to pay him less than the $8.5 million per season he's been making over the years, and because of their tax breaks, they most likely can get him at a cheaper rate. Tampa's issue is cap space, which they made worse when they traded for Ryan McDonough earlier this offseason. It does tell me Tampa is looking to make another run, so with $5.5 million in cap space, they're going to try and work it out with Stamkos to fit him in. If they don't, I hope Sweeney is on the phone immediately, offering Stamkos a chance to get back at the team to let him walk. Number 2, Elias Lindholm. Lindholm was probably the one who everyone thought was going to be my number 1. He plays center, and we know the Bruins tried to acquire him from Calgary and then from Vancouver at the deadline. I still would love to know what the deal was that Vancouver entertained to have Lindholm come to Boston. If I had to wager, my guess, it would have involved Jake DeBrusk, some defenseman, or a prospect, but that's just a guess. Lindholm has reportedly turned down a 7x7 million contract from the Vancouver Canucks and is going to test the open market. It was reported he liked Vancouver and that his teammates there had been trying to convince him to come back. So we at least know that he's looking for something north of 7, but at age 29, we rarely see a 7-year term contract work out. Knowing the fan base in Boston, they would let him hear about near the end of this deal. Lindholm is something the Bruins have desperately needed since Patrice Bergeron and David Krejci retired. The Bruins need some stability at center, and I think Lindholm can bring that. He isn't the elite center a lot of us are thinking he is, but he is an upgrade over Coyle and Zaka. Lindholm plays like a Boston Bruin already with his two-way play, and he's been on their radar for years. He had a very down year last season, and maybe some of that can be attributed to all the uncertainty. But 15 goals and 44 points was one of his worst point totals since his third year in the league. He was averaging almost 20 minutes a night in Calgary, and his ice time went down when he went to Vancouver, going in around 17. Some of the media think that ice time has something to do with him turning down the offer from Vancouver, which could play into the Bruins' favor. If the past couple of off seasons have taught us anything, it's that players trying to hit a home run on their third deal have struck out more often than not. More players are getting paid after their entry-level deal now. But with the cap going up this year, we might see a change. I have no doubt that the Bruins will try and sign Elias Lindholm this summer. Number 1, Sam Reinhart. I find it interesting that no one is really talking about Reinhart as being a possibility, and maybe that's because he's still playing. Florida has $20 million in cap going into next season, so they have room to sign it, but a man can dream. Florida does need to sign a lot of players next year as they only have 14 of 23 signed going into next year, but I'm guessing Reinhart is their number one priority, and honestly, he should be. Reinhart is the center the Bruins desperately need, and the jewel of this summer. He scored 57 goals last season and tallied 94 points. He averaged 20 minutes a night in Florida, and Florida plays him in every situation. He's only 28 years old and looks now like Zito stole him from Buffalo. Florida acquired him for Devin Levi and Yuri Kolich in 2021. That would be like the Bruins trading Swayman in 2021 for him. Levi was touted as the next great goalie for the Florida and might be for the Buffalo Sabres. Reinhart plays both ends of the ice and plays hard, doesn't shy away from the tough stuff, and goes to the net and scores a ton of goals. He truly is the best player available in the UFA market, and he's a center. I truly think Florida will re-sign him, and he won't come cheap. My guess is his number's either going to start with a 10 or an 11, and he will get term. If for any reason he is available, though, Don Sweeney better get on the phone and try and get him to Boston. This was a list of the free agents I would like to see the Boston Bruins look into. Doesn't mean they will or that they're linked to them. At this time, the only player on this list I truly think the Bruins will be calling on July 1st right away is Elias Lindholm. Free agent season is almost here, and so is the draft. There's a lot of movement and Boston Bruins conversations to be had on the horizon. If you like the video and want to see more Boston Bruins content, please leave a like and subscribe. If you've already subscribed, thanks. Let me know in the comments players you think the Bruins should go after in free agency, and I'll see you next time.